So hi,
Okay.
everybody. I'm Raylene with Tribe Leadership Consulting, and I'm here today, pretty excited to be here with Susan. She is one of our corporate directors in Tribe, and she is our corporate social responsibilities expert. She is an expert in international partnerships. She's an expert in relationships and social enterprise. And we're so glad she's here talking to us a little bit today about corporate social responsibilities in the bigger term, but also in some of the more grassroots impacts it's having in our society and with some of the stuff that's going on now. And I'm really glad you could talk to me today, Susan.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, Aline, and this is fantastic. Corporate social responsibility is one of those things that, you know what, it can be boring, but it can be exciting. So it is nice to be here.
Well, that's awesome. And I know, I mean, you and I've talked a lot about corporate social responsibility, and as we're sort of building and designing our business, it's something that has come up a lot of times in terms of not only how do we embrace that in our own business, but how our clients can embrace it. And really what you said, it can be what maybe people might think as a boring topic, but it's not boring at all. I think people just don't understand what it really means. And if you want to start out just telling us a little bit about that, what does it actually mean? And is corporate social responsibilities only for big organizations?
No, actually, you know what? I'm going to flip that question and tell you what it is not first. Before we can even get to what it is, we got to talk about what it isn't. Corporate social responsibility is not collecting perishable foods once a month or once a year and doing a food drive. That's not it. That's a good act, but it's not corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility is not writing a casual check to the women's shelter in the town. That again is a nice thing, but it's not corporate social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility has to be something that is ingrained in what the business does on a daily basis. We have to look at what your immediate business is and who your clients are. And your corporate social responsibility has to be part of that. So you do not have to send out a new email, a reminder email every 6 months. Oh, we are going down the road to clean shop, and that's not it.
Right.
Every day you do business in a community, you should be invested. It should be something that you do just as easily as breathing. So let's look at some examples of what it is. So I told you what it is, and I'll give you an example of what it is.
Tell us.
In a one-off situation, like we're talking about, like where we are now with the pandemic and everything. One corporation comes out to me every time I think about corporate social responsibility. That is about the N95 masks.
Oh yes, yeah.
So Canada was in a bind; it needed masks. And everybody around the world needs masks. And there's this one company in the US that supplies Canada. And they tell 3M that you can't ship to Canada. Or you can't ship your masks to anywhere because we need them in the US. Now, I like what the leadership of that corporation did. They said, no. They pushed back. And they said, no, these are our clients. And we're going to find a way to keep the supplies going. If it means the longer hours or whatever, ramping up production, but we are not going to stop shipments when our client needs us. Now that is corporate social responsibility. One example, don't get me going. I can give you more, but I think that's good for right now.
But I do think it is helpful for context and to share examples of what it is and what it isn't. Like, I think people think of it as such a big, broad term. Well, if I don't have a big corporation, then it doesn't apply to me. It's not relevant in my small business or even just me as a person. But corporate social responsibilities, if I'm looking at it and trying to sort of look in my community, it also is about the really helpful community-based things that everybody is doing. And in the pandemic, it's easy to see all the things that are going wrong. It's easy to see what's happening in our world that's just so horrifying in so many levels. But I think we sometimes forget to celebrate the right word, but to really highlight some of the businesses and people that are doing it so well. You know, it's just so important.
I agree, because I'm gonna give you a quick example of, you and I are here in Ottawa. So at the height, even now, the biggest heat places are the long-term care homes.
Right.
So one of the worst long-term care homes is it's actually near me here in Almont. So they are, it is where the worst cases are in Ottawa, where it hit first. And there's so many examples around that small town of businesses that did one and are still continuing to do wondrous things. So there's examples of restaurants that just cooked meals. They were just cooking meals and delivering them to the long-term care home for the staff. So they will cook big meals and they bring and deliver them to the door and they go away. Mm-hmm. So there is folks that just deliver, still those same restaurants deliver some of those to the nurses or to the workers' homes as well, because a lot of these nurses or whatever have families and stuff, and a lot of them could not go back. Right. So there's three businesses in our community that did a fundraiser to buy a ventilator for the general hospital in that town. Now that is corporate social responsibility to the 9th degree. Mm-hmm. And the other part about corporate social responsibility, when you ingrain it in what you do every time, you don't have to jump up and down and say, look what we did, because your clients, your staff, you yourself know that this is part of your business. It's kind of like every time we open the door to the business, we are doing corporate social responsibility. I'll add one more example about restaurants. Again, also restaurants, not only in Almont but in Ottawa that I know of, when they knew that they could not continue business, they had supplies in like perishables in their cellars or whatever. Right. A lot of these restaurants got that food and took it to the food bank to deliver to people that need it. Now, you can say that I'm a small business, I can't afford to do that every day. But think about if you are in any of these situations, in any of these places, and you are a customer, and you know the people that came to your aid when you were in trouble, when you needed help. Mm-hmm. The minute I have a dime in my pocket I can go to a restaurant, I'm gonna go to that restaurant. Right. And that's what this is. So especially if you're a small business, you cannot afford not to have corporate social responsibility.
Well, and isn't it really at the core of it, isn't it a chance to play out or showcase, and I don't mean showcase where everybody needs to know about it, but isn't this living your values? Every business has some sort of set of values, a mission, vision, values, but whether they actually live it is a different story, right? Yeah. Not all businesses actually show up with their values in some of these hard situations. And so we're seeing this through this pandemic in those examples you gave. There's also examples of personal social responsibilities, right? Like people who are converting their garages so that long-term care workers have a safe place to be, hotels that are giving up rooms for free, to care workers. There's, I've had 2 times, I have a big family and they're home with us right now. There's 7 of us in the home and we needed to find masks and you can't find them at the stores. Yeah. Right. And so we're happy to buy or donate from people who sew, like on Facebook. And both times we reached out, nobody was willing to charge us, and we would have been happy to pay for that.
Yeah.
But both times they said, no, we give them away for free. So people are taking bed sheets, they're taking old clothes, they're taking everything they have and making masks and giving them away to the community, because people who aren't working in healthcare we may not have access to gloves and masks as readily as the healthcare workers, because obviously the need is there greater for them. But we're seeing these examples all the time. It's just amazing that people are stepping up.
Yeah, and it's actually heartwarming to see how people have stepped up. And just as we can highlight these cases, we can go the other way, but this conversation is about highlighting the good cases, and I'm really actually excited to see what people are seeing around them, because the stories really are amazing. This week I heard about Amazon. Amazon has used their center in Seattle, I think. They have turned it into a shelter, into a living space for the homeless. And I mean, like you could go there, but I've heard of a little kids actually, and little kids sometimes are much better than us adults in doing the things. They do lemonade stands. I heard of a little kid who raised $1,000 for the food bank. She did her lemonade stand, and some little boy doing keychains.
Okay.
And selling keychains to send pizza to staff at a long-term care home. I mean, this cases are heartwarming, but that is corporate social responsibility at its core.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I want to be mindful of our time and wrap this up so people have a chance to weigh in on the video and stuff. But here's the one thing I really during a pandemic, and we've seen this in Tribe, like businesses are really struggling just to know what direction to go in right now, and everything had to shift. Bringing your employees, getting them home, getting them set up, figuring out, can you afford the staff that you have? Like there's lots of real serious and significant challenges that have come along with this, in addition to the beautiful things that have come out of it, right? People learning to communicate in a different way through video conferencing, people maybe understanding how to take care of themselves a little bit better or balance their family life. There's good and bad or challenging times with lots of this. But at the end of the day, for businesses who are saying, you know what, I do want to act on my values. I do want to step up and live my corporate social responsibility, or I want to know more about that, and this is a good time for me to learn it. This is a great time for people to either learn it, figure it out, talk to an expert in this area, and help really define how they want their business to move forward, rather than maybe they've never had a chance to consider, does our business actually live the values that we say we have? Do we even have that in place? And if so, how can we use our gifts, our skills, our expertise, our heart to serve the community that we're in right now? And do you think that people can really, put some framework around that during these challenging times?
I think this is the best time that we all have to re-look at everything that we do. If you're looking, if you're a business person right now and you're looking at your business, if you have even 5 minutes to incorporate a small component of corporate social responsibility in what you do, I mean, you can't afford not to going back, because, we all know one thing, that things have changed and we're not going to go back where we were. Just as we cannot go back to listening to music on cassettes, We are not going to go back to how we were doing business before. So this is a great time. And the one thing I always want to tell my clients is, or I tell the businesses, that it doesn't have to be big and grand.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to look at what you're doing on a daily basis. If
Right.
you have a client, if you have one client, you have something you can do around that client in terms of corporate social responsibility. It has to mirror into what you're doing and merge. That's the only way you can make it sustainable. So if, for example, you are in the food business, your corporate social responsibility cannot be in something other than, you could, but it will be better if it was related to what you are. Can it be related to your supply chain? Can
Mm-hmm.
it be related to, feeding people? So the product itself that you're making, if it's ingrained in either your supply chain or in your actual client delivery, service delivery, it is much more sustainable. So you don't have to look far away to find it. Look in your core businesses, there will be something
Right.
there. And obviously we are here. We are happy to engage and walk you through the process, demystify it a little bit,
Right.
define what it is,
Yeah.
and tie it into your values.
Yeah, and that's a great point for anybody who's watching this video. If you're not sure what corporate social responsibilities really are or how they apply to the work that you do or the business that you're in, reach out. Susan, I'm sure, would be happy to have a conversation to help you understand it a little bit more, how it's relevant to your work. But we would love to help you, and we don't want anybody to just not be sure. So feel free to reach out. And if you like this video, rate, review, subscribe. That helps us out a lot. And Susan, thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to moving this conversation forward. We have a lot of things planned in Tribe to help people understand more about this. And we're going to get you back on more videos to help people move forward in this sort of challenging time and in their business. So thanks so much for taking the few minutes today to talk to me about it.
Well, thank you so much, and I am so happy, and I'm really, folks out there, and engage with us and let us know what good things you're seeing happening around you.
Yeah.
Looking forward to talking to you some more too.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a
You're
great
welcome.
day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.